Now, the UN Secretary-General has renewed calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza on the first day of Ramadan there. Antonio Guterres said the start of the holy month has been marked by more killing, bombing and bloodshed. He also called for an immediate release of Israeli hostages. Here's our correspondent, Emma Murphy.
Even in this city that has seen so much sorrow, this is a melancholy Ramadan. This time of piety and charity, family and fast, now haunted by the lives and the deaths of those in Gaza.
It's very disturbing, very distressing, and in fact it's a sad situation. Ramadan is a month of fasting, so you abstain from food, but in the Gaza Strip, food is abstaining from people rather than the other way around.
Normally these streets would be festooned with lights and decorations for Ramadan, but there are no celebrations this year. Everyone's thoughts are very much with those living and dying in Gaza. The sadness for the present and for the future is palpable.
Ramadan, it's a lovely month in all the Muslim, and it's beautiful month, all the people. But now it's not good and not beautiful because we have more people killed in Gaza because the war in Israel and Gaza together. And I hope the war is finished and all the people peace.
Every year, thousands gather at the Al-Aqsa Mosque for Ramadan. Access is controlled and limited by the Israeli authorities, a policy which regularly leads to violence. Today, we saw many being turned away. These men telling us they'd tried 7 different gates, but been denied at each. These were the scenes at Al-Aqsa last night, as younger worshippers were denied the right to pray in one of the most revered sites of Islam. The backdrop of war is adding to the tensions here. In Gaza, fasting is forced upon many by the absence of food. For others, food or the breaking of their fast will be with what meagre offerings charities can provide. What aid there is comes mainly from the air, but so too do the missiles. There had been hope a ceasefire could have been reached by the start of Ramadan. How misplaced that hope seems now. Emma Murphy, ITV News, Jerusalem.
And all of that comes against the backdrop of increasing tension between Israel's Prime Minister and the President of the country's main ally, the United States. And our US correspondent Dan Rivers is in Washington for us tonight. Dan, growing disagreements then between the two sides.
Yeah, look, publicly the White House are playing down any kind of fracture in the relationship between Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister. But there have been a number of incidences over the last few days which suggest that relationship is under considerable strain. You had this hot mic comment that was caught at the end of President Biden's State of the Union address when he was talking to his Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, in which he said that Benjamin Netanyahu needs to have a come to Jesus meeting with me, meaning a serious talk with him about Gaza. That's been picked up on heavily here, as has an interview he gave over the weekend to the US broadcaster NBC, in which President Biden said Israel must, quote, pay attention to the innocent lives being lost. And he added, it's hurting Israel more than helping it. When asked about the red lines that would be crossed, if there was a red line, if Israel went ahead with this operation in Rafah, here's what he had to say.
It is a red line, but I'm never going to leave Israel. The defense of Israel is still critical, so there's no red line. I'm going to cut off all weapons so they don't have the Iron Dome to protect them. They don't have, but there's red lines that if he crosses, you cannot have 30,000 more Palestinians dead.
So he's sort of ruling out withholding any weapons like Iron Dome, but it does beg the question, of course, well, what will America do if this operation goes ahead? They're in a very awkward situation, the US, airdropping in aid to the people of Gaza because basically of Israeli intransigence along the border.
OK, Dan Rivers in Washington, thank you.